Hey, I wanted to talk a little bit about a thrift store find I found a couple years ago. I was at a Goodwill and I saw something in the corner of my eye. It was a Sony bag. And when I saw that, I had to go run over and see what was inside. And I looked inside, opened it up, and inside was not one, but two Sony Mavica digital cameras from the 90s. There was a model number FD-73 and then also model number FD-75. And if you're not familiar with these cameras, they take floppy disks. Remember these floppy disks? They hold 1.4 megabytes of information. You can only store like 30 pictures on each disk, but these were like state-of-the-art technology in the 90s. To be able to have a floppy disk that you could put in your camera and then just take it out, put it into your computer. Every computer had a floppy disk drive back then, and you could just read the pictures right off of the computer. So I'll show you how it works. First you gotta turn it on. There's a little on button. No disk, it says. So you insert the disk in the side. And you'll see it's on play. You switch that to camera. And look, it's me. Hi. So that was one of the cool things about these Mavica cameras, was the size of this screen. I know it may not look very impressive today, but back in the day, that was huge. Like, there was no screen this big for most digital cameras. So to be able to see a screen that big is pretty awesome. And I remember we had these in college, and I really wanted one. They were going for like $300 or $400 back then. Now, I mean, they go for, you could buy a pair of them for 20 bucks. But these were state-of-the-art technology in the late 90s and early 2000s. And also in the bag was 2 extra batteries and the charger. And this charger is pretty nice too. It blinks, or when it's charging, it just stays orange, and then when it's done, the light will go away. And then to open the battery compartment, there's a little switch on the bottom. This one's empty. Insert the battery. Wrong way. And it pops in. And you get a pretty good charge out of these batteries. I want to say maybe 2 or 3 hours. Again, back then that was pretty good. And to eject the disc, there's like a special way you have to do it. You'll see that it's like a 2-step process. You got to push this down, and then you got to pull that to the side. And you see the disc will just pop out, and it goes right into your computer. Your 1995 Packard Bell. They have flash. It has a 10x optical zoom, which is actually really good. It has, some of them can do video. These 2 models cannot do video, but the later model Mavicas can. There's like a video switch in the middle. So it's like play, video, camera. But the video clips are not very long. I want to say you can only get like 10 or 15 or 20-second video clips, because remember, you're saving them on these floppy disks. 1.4 megabytes. You can't fit much video on that, even at a really low resolution. I think it's like 360 by 280 or something like that. And the resolution of these pictures are also very low res. I want to say it's 0.3 megapixel. So if you look at that on like a newer monitor, it's a tiny little box. It's not like, it doesn't even take up the full thing to get the pixels like that. So it's hard to use these cameras today, but they're just a fun piece of technology. I mean, look at this. This thing is beautifully designed. It has like all these nice stickers on it. Has that beautiful Sony logo on it. 10x optical zoom is really good. And I don't know if you guys remember, it even has brightness controls. I don't know if you guys remember, but Sony in the 90s, they were on top of the world. They were like Apple of the 2000s. I mean, They made the best products. They made VCRs, DVD players, not Blu-ray players yet, but TVs. They're TVs. They made the Trinitron TVs. I mean, those are like, there was no other TV that was better than that. They made awesome products in the 90s, and then they just kind of fell off the map. And I guess Apple sort of took over with the innovation. Sony still makes some decent stuff. I think they're still making TVs, but I don't know if it's as good as it used to be. There's a little battery compartment on these Mavicas. I think that's so that you can save the internal date and time, so that it'll always have the latest date and time. Brightness control, like I said. Picture effects, those are kind of lame, but you could like add, like, there's only like 4 or 5 different effects you can do, like black and white, sepia, stuff like that. You could program it. I don't know, maybe you could set the time so it takes a picture in like 10 seconds. Turn the flash on and off. This is the zoom in and zoom out. Power. You can't just flip it down. You gotta hold that little, you gotta push that little green button in, and then it will turn on. And then whenever it's reading the disc, you'll see that this light goes on. Yeah, they're great cameras. I mean, like I said, I used to have one in, well, I didn't have one, I borrowed one in college from my professor. There was like one for our classroom, and we'd have to borrow it for, you know, taking pictures and stuff like that. And I loved taking pictures with this. I mean, imagine how ridiculous I'd look today going around and like taking pictures with this thing when you could just use your cell phone, which is 100 times more powerful, and you get 100 times the resolution in the pictures. It would just be kind of like a funny YouTube video if I was just like, someone was videoing me going around taking pictures and seeing all the reactions of people staring at me with this thing. It would be pretty funny. But yeah, these two models are pretty similar. The FD-75 and FD-73. You could see, I mean, the numbers are so similar. You could tell that they're probably just made like a year apart. So they're, one of them is, they're both 10x optical zoom, and I think they both have the same resolution, probably 0.3 megapixels. It says 2.5 hour battery life, or 2200 shots, which you're not going to get, because like I said, one disc only holds like 30 pictures. So you'd have to have like, you know, 100 discs with you to get that amount of pictures. But I just want to show you guys these cool Mavicas. 20 bucks for two. I thought it was a pretty good deal. I couldn't pass that up at that Goodwill. And I really like these things. Every once in a while I whip them out. Obviously they're not nearly as good as today's technology, today's with the phones and the newer digital cameras, but a great piece of technology and history. One for the museum. Maybe one day these will be in the Smithsonian. I don't know. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and have a great night.